Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Brick Something News, aka the Needless Ephemera we saw. I hope y'all can hear me, because give me a thumbs up or something in the in the chat and let me know if you can hear me. Test. I hope that's the case. It's a little bit weird because I am used to having a guest, and today I don't. It is just me, myself, and I. Oh, some De La Soul for you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Zio. Thank you, E. Great. Thank you, Blake. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's been doing well. I am back for the first time live in 2 Sundays. As folks know, I usually have been pretty consistent. I think I've sort of maybe missed 3, maybe 3 Sundays. And in fact, while I've been gone, because it's summer, I had a little bit more capacity. And so I put together some pre-records, not just on the Sundays, the last 2 Sundays, but also did 2 Tuesday episodes. And so hopefully you all got to see that. Let me go ahead and break that down real quick. And then we'll get started with today's show, and I'll kind of let you know what we've got planned. Okay. So first off, on the Brick Something channel. Oh, I should say this. On August 14th, which is, my birthday, if folks didn't know, if you haven't been around to sort of be a part of this little celebration, that's the anniversary of my channel. So it'll be the 3rd anniversary of the Brick Something YouTube channel. So yay. So that's coming up, and I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do, if anything, for that this year. But just wanted to say thank you to everybody who watches regularly, who comments, tells folks about it. It's super helpful. I think, what are we at now? At 1,500 subscribers. When I started this thing, had no real sense of, how this was all going to develop and everything. I was just like, hey, I want to talk toys. And I've been watching other people talk about toys. I've been having fun in the chats, and, let's do it. And here I am, about to be 3 years later. So every Sunday I do this thing, the Brick Something News. I usually have a guest on, and we kind of talk through stuff. And I just wanted to shout out to the folks for the last 2 weeks who have, come on and done pre-records with me. So 2 Sundays ago, it was me and these guys, the Collecting Brothers, John and Josh. In case you missed it, check that out. Had a good time just kind of talking about what we were looking at that time. Those guys are awesome. Then the Tuesday after that, I had a special episode. Again, if you missed it, please check it out. That was me with Mr. Wonderful from the Toilet Takeover podcast that happens on Tuesdays. Again, just us kind of talking toys. We were talking Savage Crucible, some, more fantasy relevant stuff, related stuff. Then last Sunday, on my sort of normal news time, was me and Cheney 180, head Toy Migo, if you will, of the Toy Migos, one of my favorite channels here on YouTube. And we talked toys. We talked kind of a lot of fighting game stuff. This was pre-SDCC. If you're not familiar, the Toy Migos tend to break a lot of the Jada Toys, Street Fighter, and Jada Toys in general news, because they've got an awesome relationship with June. And we talked all about those. We talked about some loose collector birding hammer stuff. We talked Storm Arena Street Fighter, and this was all ahead of some of the stuff that came out just this past couple of days at San Diego Comic-Con with Jada doing even more Street Fighter. So that was that. That was last Sunday's episode. And then this past Tuesday, had a special episode, which is kind of rad. We did kind of a focused thing on stop motion. Me and Captain McKay, who himself is an amazing stop motion, creator. And he showed me some of his favorite other stop motion artists, but also we kind of started off talking about toy commercials that we grew up on. I'm a little older than him, so I went back to some of the 80s stuff. He went through some of the 90s stuff, and we were just kind of reminiscing on the role of like video where you'd see toys being played with, and then obviously that bleeds into stop motion. So check that out if you missed it. And here we are today with this episode. So all that to say, thank you for watching the channel in general. Again, about to celebrate 3 years. Thank you to the 1,500 of you who have decided they wanted to click subscribe. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, most people don't subscribe to channels, but please just note that it's super helpful. It helps grow the channel because then, YouTube says, hey, people actually like this thing, and then they forward it. It's just the way the algorithm works. Okay. That said, if you could tell from the thumbnail, it's just me today. And I just came back from a trip to Tokyo. I can't even tell you how grateful and thankful I am that I'm in this position where we do have the ability to travel. And so me and my family actually just went there last summer. And that was my first time being back since 2009, I want to say was the last time or so. But that was with my band. And so prior to that, I'd done another trip. I think it was like 2004. And so those were like playing music with a band and touring. And I got to see a lot of the country. And the tour manager at that time, I told him, hey, I'm kind of into nerdy things and toys. So he took me to a couple toy spots back then that I remembered. So when I went back last year, I visited that spot and then, did a little bit of my own research. And today I kind of just wanted to share with you a little bit of sort of like what I did in Japan, a little bit of what I've come to understand from these last two trips in particular about like how one can go about doing the toy hunting and the toy shopping, and some of my favorite shops to go to. I'll, show visuals and show some of that stuff and just kind of talk to you all about that. If you're ever curious, if you ever find yourself in the with the ability to head to Japan and to do some toy shopping, maybe this will be useful. If not, maybe it'll just be interesting to see. And I'm going to see what I can do with some of the content. I still have videos from the last summer that I do want to edit and share at some point, but I don't know. It might just be interesting to folks. So would love to know if anybody in the chat currently watching is familiar with toy hunting and going to Japan and going to Tokyo, because I know a lot of folks do. A lot of our folks in our circles were just there for Star Wars Celebration. I know Kevin Toying Around was there. Yoko was there from the Enablers and from the Fallen Fett Chronicles. Trevor, 1/6 Shooter, was there. He actually did a panel at Star Wars Celebration. RMD Collective was out there from the chats. So a bunch of folks I know were just there in April. And Art G has gone. Art G, who was there last time we were comparing notes because we were both there sort of at the same time. So a lot of the folks on YouTube have gone, a lot of our friends or whatever. So there's not, I'm not sharing anything that I think is like, I don't know, big secrets or anything. Other folks have gone, but I figured, hey, I just got back. If I'm a little rambly, I apologize. Feel free to stop me in the chat. I'm a little bit adjusting to the time zone change. And full disclosure, this morning I was on the New to Mythics channel over on Greg Schmerber's channel. And it was a dope show, but we started at 6 a.m. my time. And we went for a couple hours, had a blast. So check that out too. Okay. So that's the plan. We'll talk a little bit about some Tokyo toy hunting, and I'll share a little bit about kind of just Japan in general and how beautiful it is. It looks like folks have already put in that they've been to Japan. Cool. We'll go through those chats in a second. And then after that, depending on time, let's talk a little bit about SDCC. There's definitely some toy news, right? The last couple of days. And there's two big toy shows that I'm particularly interested in. Or two big nerdy shows where toys feature. Obviously, San Diego Comic-Con, that is just wrapping up today on Sunday, July 27th. But also July 27th, Japan time, so starting yesterday, Wonder Festival summer. So they do these Wonder Festivals across Asia. This is the summer one in Japan, just started, and there's some stuff that popped out of there too. So again, depending on time, we'll take a look at that. Okay. That said, let's go ahead and say hello to the chat who's here for the live. And some of you I know dropped in earlier and left a comment. Please know that all that is super helpful. Again, tells YouTube that like people actually care about this little toy channel called Brick Something. First off, Brian Carr, first in the chat. What's up, man? Good to see you. We got to hang out today this morning. I also got to hang out with this guy, Blake. Let's chat toys for sure. We were just hanging out this morning over on Greg's channel, and he himself, I know, has been to Japan, and he's starting to share a couple weeks before I left a little bit of places I should check out and things I should do, because he did spend some time out there. And he was on the channel here for a news episode a couple weeks back and totally introduced me to Blockies and broke down some Joy Toy Warhammer stuff. That was amazing. Win or lose, what's going on, man? And yes, I am in fact back from vacay. Mr. Ryan Clark, what's going on, sir? Good to see you. Hope everything's good up north. Yes, Josh, we are back. We are back live. The last 2 weeks have been pre-recorded episodes, but we're back. This is all live. This is actually happening. Julius Downey, what's up? That's my brother Ted, and he's saying something in Japan. He actually spent a good over almost 2 years, I think, living in Japan, working on a project at the Disney parks out there. But I'm gonna need your help to translate, buddy, because what do I know? Yeah, he had to learn the language and continues to learn the language. So Chris Johnson, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you so much for jumping in, man. Shout out to Wallace and Gromit. Good stuff. Nolan is here making this official Toy Tube because Nolan is in the chats all the time across great shows. E. McNeil, what's going on, man? And I know E was saying that he spent some time out in Japan in the late 90s as a college student. So he's familiar with how awesome it can be out there, I'm assuming. Don't know if you were buying toys out there at that time in the 90s as a college student, but that's awesome, man. I wish I could have done that earlier. If I could do it over again, I'd find a way to maybe live out there. Counting on my kids. My kids are super into it, and my youngest especially is like, I want to live in Japan. So I was like, figure it out, man. Let's figure it out, and then find a way to have your old folks stay with you and retire. Game Quest is here. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Happy Sunday to you, sir. Zio Adams, what's going on? Hope all is well in your neck of the woods in the continent of Europe. What's up? Genma Sinopa. Who else is here? Hey, man, I appreciate this. Yeah, Rick Jones is here. And yes, don't forget to hit that like button. Click that like. Yes, that's another way. Like, I'm not very good at remembering to tell people this, but please click that like if you're watching on the replay. Click that like. It's another way to tell YouTube, hey, we should tell people about the show and we should tell people about this channel. Ray Black, what's going on? Good to see you as always. Twizzler 19 is here. Good evening to you. Larry's Geeky World is here. Look at that, rocking that Sentai / Power Rangers goodness in his thumbnail. And I think that might be it. What's SDCC? That would be San Diego Comic-Con. Not sure if you're serious, but if you are, because not everybody knows. Big the biggest comic convention / pop culture convention, geeky stuff happening in San Diego every summer right around this time. 55 years this year. A lot of my friends are out there dropping some great content, so they've kept me in the know. So let's see. Okay, so GameQuest, in addition to Blake, in addition to E, has been to Japan. He says, my family tries to go to Tokyo every other year to see my wife's family. My favorite place in the world outside of home. I agree with you. It is an amazing place. It is one of my favorite places in the world as well. Yeah, it's no secret, man. I've said it already. I would love to find a way to live there. But that's awesome. You get to go every couple of years. I never thought that I'd be able to go as many times as I have. And we went 2 summers in a row. This summer was not planned. That was not part of the original plan. But my spouse, my wife, just surprised us one day and said, hey, I found some cheap tickets. Let's go. We're going. I'm like, all right. DJ 5000, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thank you so much for dropping in. Appreciate you. And yeah, fair enough, Mr. Ryan Clark. Sarcasm is one of those things that's hard to, translate in the chats. And Gabriel, what's up, man? Good to see you. Always, man. It's been a couple weeks, so good to see you, sir. All right. So we've got a couple folks who have been in Japan. I don't know if you all have been able to shop. I know my brother has done toy shopping there. I know he's done some toy shopping for me, or brought some home, I should say. He's got his stores that he likes to go to. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the one that he recommended, just ran out of time. But yeah, so we'll talk about all of that stuff. But before we do that, I was trying to upload videos before, and then this second machine crashed. Let me go ahead and actually start off by just sharing a little bit about like my experience just in Japan. It kind of set up like it's not just about toys. So obviously I do a toy channel here on YouTube. I do the show weekly, random, but if you look at that bottom banner that's going through and that QR code that's down there, almost forgot to say this, you'll see a document that'll take you to a document that has all the links to everything I show. So any links that come up today will be in there after the show. The pictures that I'm showing that are my videos may not be accessible, but some of the shops that I'm going to talk about, I'll send the websites and all that kind of stuff there. So check that out, as well as that's true for this show, this episode, as well as old episodes. Okay. I was about to say, hey, let's talk about Japan in general. It's not all about toys. Obviously, there's like all sorts of just dope pop culture stuff coming out of Japan. Ever since I was a kid, I've shared here on the channel before that Ted and I would be with our families in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, where we grew up. And there were toy shops, bookshops that we'd check out and just be sort of inundated by all this stuff, this whole other world of toys where their toys were different. And that introduced me to Sentai as a kid. That introduced me to Macross, which became Sentai, which became Power Rangers, Macross, which became Robotech, yeah. And so it was also a different time. We had a mall in Southern California that was like this toy shop that actually had a lot of the Bandai, not Chogokin, I forget what they're called. Ted, if you can remind me, what was that line that Eon used to collect before it became Soul of Chogokin, which it is now? The big, giant, awesome robots like the Voltrons, the Voltus 5s, etc. But they, it was just more accessible for some reason in Los Angeles, probably because it's, major metropolitan area and huge Japanese community, etc. But I got to just be exposed to a lot of that stuff. So all my life, man, I've been exposed to manga and anime and other Japanese stuff. Thank you, Eel. Yes, the Godaikin line. That's it. And the Shogun Warriors, Ted had a bunch of those. And so those as well, those were like stuff, the big blow mold plastic, hollow plastic toys that Mattel brought over from Japan. But all that to say is that Japanese toys, toy culture, pop culture has sort of just been in the world for me. And so now that I'm collecting toys and have the opportunity to go, to go, travel the world and go to places like Japan now I can go and like I have all that stuff back there and I can like go find it. And that's a lot of what I do when I am in Japan, at least these last 2 summers. And so I will just share that, as you all know, I collect things like this, Mythic Legions, and these are larger toys compared to, these are not like true, we call them 112 all the time in the United States. This is actually not 112. If you figure like one would be like a foot, an inch to a foot. These people are gigantic. True 112 would be your SH Figuarts, right? Where a lot of stuff coming out of Asia is like actual 112. So if you ever picked up an SH Figuarts compared to here, they're shorter, right? Smaller heads, smaller frames, etc. In the United States, we call this domestic 112. Hasbro's are a little larger, but they're even smaller than Mythic Legions or Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, right? This is 7 inches head to toe. I don't know if people realize it, and we're calling it 112. It's probably closer to 110. Why am I sharing all this? Because on my shelf, like as much as I love all the SH Figuarts stuff and all the anime stuff and manga stuff that they do, it's just small compared to these. And I like the idea of my stuff kind of being compatible. So when I go to Japan, if I may solo for a second, I want to buy toys that are kind of in the same size. And so here in the US, like one of the lines that has made it sort of like through the toy collecting world, in sort of like our consciousness, I guess, in addition to the SH Figuarts, Bandai, through their Tamashii Nations sort of sub brand, does these things. These are the Star Wars Meisho movie realization. They also do it for MCU stuff. And if you notice, scaling wise, perfect, right? They're taller figures, like 7 inches too. So when I went to Japan, I was like, I'm looking for stuff like this, stuff that might work on my shelf in terms of scale. And so I did my research, and before these, there were other lines called SICs or super imaginative chogokin. And they're actually built very similar to these and similar concept. So if you're looking at this is Boba Fett, but that don't look like no Boba Fett, right? This is Boba Fett if Boba Fett existed in feudal Japan. And so it's stylized. It's sort of reimagined. That's what these are. So this is Kamen Rider 1, sort of based on, not quite Shin Kamen Rider, but the re-release of, I'm trying to remember what they called him. Hold on. Details. Brick with the unnecessary details. Kamen Rider the First. This is the actual box for these. And so this is a 2-pack. So when I went last summer, this is what I was hunting down. These are old. This one in particular is from 2006. This line goes back to early 2000, I want to say 2000 was the first one. And so these were actually the ancestors, I guess, to what we now call the movie realization stuff. Similar height. Yeah. So this stuff, man, I was like, okay, let me find it. And because it's older, that means I could maybe find some used stuff. And if you shop here in the United States for secondary market, man, there's that markup. It's going to be expensive. Let me tell you, the way that I've been able to do this, I think this figure as a 2-pack, each figure broke down to like $22 when I bought this last year. And right now that the yen isn't as strong as it has been in the past. So getting some pretty good deals. And this was brand new. Had not been opened. This was not like, oh, somebody opened it. And I did buy one. That was the case. And it was in beautiful condition because collectors out there seem to take real good care of their stuff. That said, it works. So on my last trip, these are some others. Like this is Kamen Rider, Masked Rider. This is one of those things that I remember seeing as a kid in my focus is not working, but you get the general idea. This is Sky Rider. This is the other sort of, this is the number 2 in Kamen Rider, the first. So I know you're like, man, they look real similar. They do. Okay. These are all like the early Kamen Riders, but from that same line, the SIC line. And man, they scale perfectly with my stuff, as I've showed you. Here's some older stuff. Again, this is a series from the 70s. This is all tokusatsu stuff. People wearing suits, doing the special effects thing. Tokusatsu is basically like effects, special effects in Japan. And so the stuff that becomes like your Super Sentai and gets translated in the United States as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When I was a kid, I remember seeing this guy and being blown away by this red-blue robot. This is Kikaider. And again, this is a reimagined version. So if you look at pictures of Kikaider and what he looks like, he doesn't exactly look like this. This is like extra sculpted details, arguably unnecessary details, but this is very much a more is more kind of line. And again, he stands right up there with this undead Mythic Legion's Legion builder, and they work out great. So this is what I was hunting. So I want to share that because for me, that actually kind of changes my toy shopping. Let me show you a couple more real quick. If you've been watching the shorts on the channel, you might be familiar. This is a newer one. I think this was 2016 version of SIC. A newer version of Kamen Rider, Forza, and sort of a redone extra buggy version of Kamen Rider Kuga. This was like a mid-80s, I want to say, Kamen Rider. You get the idea. This is what I was looking for. So I still, at this point, haven't even unboxed everything from last year. So this one, that's not the case. I actually opened this in Japan. This was the very first SIC that I got when I was in Osaka last year. From a store that I'll talk about later called Jungle Entertainment Hobby. They actually have a domestic shop in LA, again, Little Tokyo. I did unbox this one in Japan in the hotel, and I was like, to see, like, is this actually what I want? And I will say they're not like super posable at all by today's standards. This one is what, 2008? It's a 2008 toy. This was the first one I saw, and I looked at the price, and I want to say it was like 4,100 yen. I don't know exactly what that was that time that I was there, and I want to say now, let's see. At this moment, it's about $27, $28. So I was like, I think I can do this. Like maybe I can buy toys that I really want that'll work with the rest of my toys back home that represent these characters that I remember that I loved, right? This is a Kamen Rider X or Masked Rider X, but done in this sort of more modern interpretation. And I'm just like a sucker for this stuff. So I will tell you right now, I wasn't necessarily shopping for SH Figure Arts. I wasn't shopping for Figmas. I wasn't shopping for Mafex, but I did get to see all those and Revoltex. And I will tell you where you can find those from my perspective, where like a good way to find those. But for me, as just a fan, I find these shops, and even if I'm not buying, I'm just taking it all in and getting to see this stuff that I see online in person. I get to see, I don't know, One Piece statues and One Piece SH Figure Arts and Berserk Figure Arts and some stuff from Figma, Freerin stuff. Like it's all there. And, for us, it's imports. For them, it's like, these are just the toys that we have here. And it's just amazing. If you're like me, if you're like an otaku nerd, Japanese nerdy guy like me. Anyways, this was the very first one that I grabbed in that store Jungle. At that point, thanks to the internet, looked it up. I was like, okay, cool. I get it. There's places I can find used stuff. There's ways for me to track this down, right? And I still have one more from last year that I haven't unboxed, and that's this guy. And I'm holding this up for a reason because this is huge. And I think I paid the it's less than 60 last year for this. I'll tell you what I did with this one once I got hip to it, and I was like, okay, I can look at jungles, but they don't. This is all old stuff. They're not carrying new stock. It's like whatever they happen to pick up and have. And so you'd walk into these shops and it's like, oh man, I'm not seeing the ones I want. And I thought, oh shoot, I did some Google stuff. Amazon.co.jp. Their Amazon came up, and there were vendors selling this stuff. And I was like, oh shit, I wonder how fast they ship in Japan. Is it as fast as like we do here? And so I fully used Amazon Japan and ordered a couple of things like this and some other ones because I could find exactly maybe the ones that I wanted and order, and it just shipped right to our hotel. And it was dangerous. I did the same thing when Ted, my brother, went to Japan on another trip, and I was like, hey man, if I get some stuff delivered to your hotel, can you just bring it back? So that's another option. If you're in Japan and you're going to be in the same place for a couple of days, look up amazon.co.jp if you got some deals on there, because I will tell you right now, even if you're looking at new stuff like Figuarts or Figma, it's going to be cheaper for you to buy there and bring it home because you're not importing it. So anyway, this one's dope. And so I'm just sharing this because I got this and one other motorcycle to give you a sense that these figures they don't only come in with a figure, but they have options to get vehicles. So keep that in mind when I show you what I got this time. So that's all last year. And then there's one other type of toy I'll talk about after this that I was really hunting for, and I'll go over that. But first, let's check in with the chat. I saw some activity as I was talking through stuff. First off, we got some folks coming in, dropping in. Where are you? Kenzo, here he is. Thank you, sir. It's good to be back. I was really happy to get away, but I'm actually good with being back. So thank you, sir. And I'm bummed that I didn't get to see you in the clubhouse. Oz on the clubhouse did 24 hours of SDCC coverage. I got to hang out with him for like an hour and a half of that, I think, midday yesterday. But I know Kenzo was in there a couple times. Oops. Yes. Sorry. Saw that. Paul Morales, what's up, man? Always good to see you. I love running into that guy on other chats. Super friendly. He's always saying hello to folks. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be like Paul. I'm gonna say hello to folks, even though I get shy sometimes. KJ Smith is here. What's up, man? I love this guy. I tease this guy because he knows why. But Japan, we're talking about Japan, which is a country in the continent of Asia. He knows what's up. All right, Terrence, thank you for breaking down the info when I was talking about scales. He said, I like 112. But I feel like there needs to be a new 112A, 112B, 112C to differentiate expectations. Yeah, because when you're doing online purchasing, as he points out here, and if you're not knowing what's up, you're not paying attention to like folks like me spending way too much time probably explaining it, and Dorklair, of course, Bill, you don't realize like, oh, it's 112. Like this SH Figuarts must be the exact same size as this Animal Warriors of the Kingdom figure. And you're like, wait, why is one so huge? Yeah, I agree with you. Honestly, for me, I want to stop saying 112 or whatever. I just want to be like, this is a 7-inch figure. I mean, because it is like this is, and I know in Jason's mind is like, no, this is actually 112, but because they're mutated sort of humans with animal DNA, they're a little bit bigger. It's like that's great, but if you're not stuck in that world and you're just like, I want my toys to work with my other toys, can you just tell me how tall this thing is? So I would love it if other toy tubers would just say, and some reviewers do it, this figure measures 7-inch tall. Great. Shout out to The Amazing and to Dorklair, who always have like when they do their videos, they'll put side by sides. And that really tells you, like, should I get this? Will it work? Etc. But you're absolutely right, Terrence. Good to see you too, buddy. Wraith Mace, what's going on, man? I hope your ears are burning earlier today in a good way because we were talking about you. Blake was talking about you. I'm excited to see Blake on your channel. What's going on? Sight Beyond Sight. I'm going to give it to you. I'll give you that Sight Beyond Sight. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Speaking Moistly. What's up, man? Speaking Moistly. Hey, thank you, man. I enjoyed hanging out there today. That was really great. And did I miss anybody else? Cool. Thank you, E. I'm really hyped on my scores. I got to remember to send you some pictures because I found some of these kind of like those larger, what people would consider more doll-like things. There are a couple of great shops. They didn't really let you take pictures inside, but there's some really cool stuff, man, that you happen upon just walking around. Larry's Geeky World saying so much details on those on Figure Arts figures. Yeah, on SH Figure Arts in general, like those are one true 112, as I've said, but they're also true to the property. So they try their hardest to be on model with, like, if it's a tokusatsu thing, they're copying what you're seeing on TV. If it's a anime, they're copying that, right? This stuff, this is full, like, now we're not copying it. We're taking it as a starting place, and then we're getting artists and sculptors to kind of like come up with their own take. So if you actually look up Skyrider, he doesn't exactly look like this, but they're cool as hell. What's up, Dave? Good to see you. I owe Dave a package. I owe a couple people packages. I will be doing that this week. Knock, knock. And yeah, again, scales. It's so tricky. Just help me out, folks. Tell me the head dimensions matters. If anyone's going to go there, I doubt it. But just give me the height, head to toe. Oh, well, here's a different take. Terrence is saying, I think the problem with inches alone is it's still based upon proportions. Yeah. So it's possible there's no perfect system. Yeah, that's what I was saying, like head dimensions. The perfect system at the end of the day is to do what Bill does, what The Amazing does, what, who else is it? There's another reviewer that I'm blanking on. But they'll literally go, okay, this is the figure we're talking about. And here he is next to a JoJo Classified. Here he is next to a Meisho Movie Realization. Here he is next to, so you can just kind of compare. That's what I look for. I'm like, okay, in this review, do they actually show us next to other figures? I recognize it. Boom. I think ultimately, again, I'm a visual person. That's me. Freaks Figs, what's up, man? And did you miss anything? I'd like to say, yeah. I'm just breaking down some of the toys that I picked up and kind of how I'm approaching my toy hunting in Tokyo. Just got back a couple days ago. Machu Toy, what's up? What's going on, man? Hello. I hope you're doing good. You must be traveling back, yeah, from SDCC, or maybe you're chilling one more night. Either way, I hope you had a good time here on the West Coast. Yes, man, I will get those to you. And speaking of packages that need to go out, yes, man, this guy won something on Highly Posable, and I asked him, hey, man, can you pause on sending that? And he gave me for making him reserve or hold my package, man, pay for storage fee. Okay, so where were we? We were talking SICs. What did I get this time? So this time, I knew exactly the kinds of stuff I was hunting for. I was like, I'm looking for SICs. Can I get more? I noticed that between last year and this year, the prices on SICs went down. That's the other thing about the way I'm doing it. I'm getting toys that, like, seemingly not a whole lot of people in Japan are hot over anymore. They're like, give me that sexy Figma. Give me that sexy SH Figure Arts. Give me the newest Mafex. Like, give me that stuff. Or like, they get excited too about things like from Hasbro, Marvel Legends, right? And they're paying good money for Black Series. I'm, on the other hand, going there to pick up their old toys that they don't want, basically. So here's what I got today. And what's up, Schmerber? It was absolutely super fun to hang out with you today. Okay, so here's where, first off, there's a receipt. This is from one of the stores I'll be talking about today, Jungle. Here's another tip. If you buy more than 5,500 yen, and I hear that might be changing, but for now, if you buy more than 5,500 worth of product in a given store, and they participate in what's called like the tax-free store program. That means if you don't live in Japan, you have the option of not paying the tax. Trip out on this. How simple is their tax code across the entire country? Sales tax, 10%, done. It doesn't change if you drive 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, a different prefecture, 10%. So you see a price tag, and they're pretty clear usually if this includes tax. That's a 10% tax that's put on top of that. And you might be thinking, damn, 10%. I live in San Francisco. Everyone assumes like we're paying high taxes, and we are, but it's like 7.75, I want to say. In my county, San Mateo, it might be like almost even 8%. I think LA is like that. So that's lower than in Japan. I'm not going to get too far into it, but I will say taxes have a purpose and they're meant to pay for things. And when you're in Japan, you see where the tax money is going for the most part. But that said, what if you're like traveling? Like, can you imagine all those folks who come here into the United States, they travel, they hang out, they're buying stuff and they're paying sales tax, and they're not going to see the value of that tax because they're not staying. They're not going to, appreciate maybe like that's going to go to the schools or whatever it is. And, I know that ultimately they do benefit from the fact that they're coming to a country where people are educated or there are roads for them to travel on. But that said, in Japan, you have the option to, and that's what these tags often mean, say, hey, I'm here from another country. I'm not going to get the health care and everything else that comes with the taxes. So I actually want my tax refunded. So you get even more of a deal. And if you're shopping at certain shops like Bic Camera, which I'll talk about, they even do this thing where they'll give you another discount for using a Visa card or a MasterCard. So there are deals to be had. Okay, so I spent 17,500 yen, or I was supposed to. But then on top of that, I got 10% of that back by showing them my passport. They write it down. They document it with the government so that when you go out to U.S., when you go out and leave customs, like it's all documented. All that to say is there's ways to save money. I just wanted to share that. And so this is another 2-pack that I found there of, surprise, surprise, more mass Kamen Rider, which a lot of this line was. I found a Kamen Rider Kuga. This thing was 4,400 for 2. You do the math on that. What was that? What did I say it was? Like $28? 4,400 yen. $29.79. So each of these figures was basically $15. This is an unopened, not a previously opened one. So it's essentially a brand new figure from the year 2003. I'm old. I realize that. I was 22 years ago. So again, I'm going there buying toys that like people are like, that's old toys. We don't want that crap. Great. I'll take it. Paid $15 for each figure, essentially. It's like, man, I can't buy figures for $15. We don't got all these here on the West Coast. Okay, what else? I showed you some of the big ones. This is one that I wanted to pick up last year. Hokkaido and his bike. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and track this down. This one, a little bit more pricey at 7,700 yen. Again, minus the 10%. So this, on the face of it, would be $52.12. But take away $5.21 because I didn't pay the tax on it. And basically, I paid $47-ish for this dude and this bike. The bike has die-cast parts. Crazy. This one, classic Kamen Rider number 1. I kind of have a version of that already. This figure's kind of whack. Like, this is really old. This is 2002. He can't sit in this bike very well. He can't. His joints are like, this is really one of the early ones. But the bike I wanted. I live in South City. There's a place called Daly City. It's 100,000 population. 33,000 of them are Filipinos. So we have a large Asian population, and so that means we have Sakaido here, which is like we have 2 of them, 2 toy import, pop culture import store. They sell this for $140. $140. What did I pay? This is actually had been opened, but it hadn't been used, and they were very clear, super like high integrity in Japan. They're like, no, this has been opened, not used, but it was opened. You can tell by the tape, and they're showing me. But if since it's been opened, we'll open it for you, and you can look at it and inspect it, pristine. Like the ties had not been untied. So this was 40. It was originally 6,000. Oh no, it's 6,000. I'm sorry. What was I tripping? I wish it was 4,400. It was 6,000 yen. So that on the face of it's $40 for the dude and the bike, minus of course the $6 in taxes that I got back, $34. And I know I'm getting into the details, but I just want to give you a sense that depending on what you're buying, you can get some cool deals on toys. So I'm just tripping on that, and this is kind of validating. And I'm recording this so that my wife can see it, and she can go like, okay, at least he didn't spend that much. Now she was with me the entire time, and she was like, yeah, go for it, get it, go for it. And so, as Rick Jones is pointing out, at this point, these are vintage toys. I'm collecting vintage Japanese toys, and yes, I did. What's up, Grego? Timescales. I am talking Japan, but I wanted the bike. So I looked on eBay for just the bike at one point. It was like $65, $75 just for the bike. I paid, what did I say again? $34 for the figure and the bike. Dude in Daly City, that's a Kaido. I see you, Westlake, $140. But hey, I get it. They've got overhead and stuff. So there is a world where I could try and sell this stuff. I don't know what the market's like if they're actually buying it. That thing's been sitting in a shop forever. But ultimately, I want to play with it. So, okay. But I'm not done, dudes. This might look familiar. I grabbed this because this was unopened, but it said package damaged. And so it was originally at $5,800. I think I have the receipt here. It's $5,200 is what I paid for this. And so I know you're probably getting sick of this whole thing, but hopefully it's helpful. $35.20 minus $3.52 because of the tax. I got it back, so that's like $32. So why did I get this? If it looks familiar, that's because I already have this. I got it last time. I paid more for it last time. I tried to look at it. I think I paid $12 more last year because this one is a little bit faded, probably sitting in a shop window. This one's beautiful. So, there you go. And, but wait, there's one last SIC that I got. Again, these are older toys. This is this is 2003. This is Kamen Rider Amazon motorcycle. Motorcycle's kind of ugly. But this was listed as $7,150 minus whatever. At the end of the day, I got a lot of toy for pretty good deals. Timescales is chiming in. He's saying like, yeah, man, you can get all sorts of deals. You can pick up an Atari 5200 with a dozen cartridges and extra cables for $2 US. $2? Is that right? Is there a typo in there? But yes. So just sharing that. If you ever get a chance, there's a bunch of like things I would say in addition that I could say another time. Like, don't be a dick. Observe that Japanese folks are real quiet, super clean. So like when in Rome, when in Tokyo, do Tokyo, be real quiet. Don't be loud, obnoxious. Or a couple loud, obnoxious tourists that I saw. But yeah. Ted saying in 2001 TiVo was new tech. Think about that. Yeah, I know, man. That's the thing. That's reality. I'm going for old toys. So I will tell you, because I did some comparison just to know, like SH Figure Arts, like hot stuff that's new right now. The other thing is like you can get stuff there that's not available here yet. I was taking pictures of stuff that's already there that are like, oh man, this is stuff that I know is going to be here in it's probably about a month and a half for it to get to the United States. But man, you can get some deals and you can find used stuff. So let me jump over here. This is not a store that I spent a lot of time shopping at because the SIC stuff is a little bit older. But if you want to get current things that you know maybe people are sort of offloading, check out this shop that that Greg was talking about. Like, yeah, go to smaller towns where they have like recycled goods, like Book Off. Book Off actually has a bunch of stores in the LA area too. You can find some stuff out there. They have Game Off or Book Off, and that's where people like basically sell their stuff, and you can get really good deals. I saw a lot of SH figure arts for like super cheap, $20. So I'm just saying. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I agree with you. Some of the stuff I got, so damn good. What's up, Rowdy? Rowdy Riles. Check out Riley. Their channel, amazing stuff. She was hanging out with Allison today. Yeah, that was just today. Coloring some Spider-Man. That was rad. So I might have, if I skipped any stuff earlier that you thought was important, I'm going to keep going. But yes, and to be clear, Grego was saying that nope, you can get that Atari 5200 with all the cables for $2. Yeah, so you can get some deals, man. So okay, now that was that stuff. What else did I want to tell you? There was one other sort of toy thing that I was looking at a lot, and let me go ahead and show you this. I'm going to share this window because one of the other things that I just realized I forgot to do something, but I'll get to that in a second. Let me move my big old face over here. All right. If you're a channel member in particular, I have uploaded to the members some of my pickups on this trip and last trip as members only stuff. And in particular, I shared my Gashapon. If you're not familiar with Gashapon are capsule toys. They come in these things, right? You put in money into the machine, you put in coins, you turn it, and out comes this. It's kind of like a blind box because you don't know exactly which one you're getting, and you open it up, and there's a toy. Okay, so you might be thinking like, yeah, but those are like cheap kids' toys. No, there is some amazing stuff in the Gashapon, and I last year discovered, meaning a thing that's existed for people all the time, but for me, I learned about this thing called Premium Gashapon by Bandai, where they sell figures that are like amazing toys. So they're a little bit more expensive. They can be like 500 yen to 1,500 yen. For context, 500 is like $3.30 some cents. They have $400 yens, or like 400 yens that are like $2, 300 yen that's like $1 something. But what I was amazed by was some of the stuff that was in there, especially like these 1,500 ones. I was like, man, that's expensive. It was $10. But I was like, what quality is this thing? So I got stuck on these things. It's a line called The Diversity of Life on Earth that Bandai does. It's super realistic animals. You might have seen this frog go up recently that was kind of emulating this kind of style. They even have like display stands of like tree bark that you can put these in on. This is the stuff you can get in capsule toy. So let me start like I did with the other ones. Let me show you what I got last year from this line. Okay, so here's one of them. Dude, these bugs are wild. So the articulation on these things, these wings are all on ball joints. They move beautifully, and they are beautiful. You can see the translucent plastic, all the painted detail in here, the sculpted detail. This is, in my opinion, like 4H level stuff. It's not head to toe, or head to toe. What does that mean? But completely covered in paint. But I don't know, it almost is. But to think, and then the articulation on these things, look at these little bug wings. I was showing some of these off earlier on that New to Mythics, and Blake, what's up, man? I still didn't open up that mantis. Sorry, got busy, went for a walk. But you can see this is a big old fly, and so the head even is articulated. So if you're familiar with Sexy Ice, who did those mantis figures and that Unkval Eliminator, you'll know that, and I know Kenzo's here, I'm super into bugs right now, and it's in the zeitgeist between Sexy Ice, between Even Guyver, I would argue. There's a little bit more new Guyver figures coming out. Obviously, Kamen Rider is a bug. Who else? Who am I thinking of? Oh, Armor Man by 3-0. There's a lot of buggy things happening, of course, like xenomorphs and stuff. But even the tail, the butt has a bunch of stuff. So this is one of them. Sorry, from last year. Let me move on a little bit more quickly. I also got this guy last year. So these come in series, right? So there's a Beetle series. So this is last year's model, if you will. 3 different segments. I've shown this, I remember last year. In fact, I owe somebody one that from last year's giveaway, sorry. But check it out. It's all ball jointed. The legs move, etc. This was, I want to say, a 500 yen one, which is $3.35. Look them up. And you're not going to buy this for $3.35 in the States. Even here in Japan, in Japantown, or there are a couple of shops here in San Jose where they actually have Bandai Gashapons. You actually have to put in $7 worth of coins to get access to one of these. So like right off the bat, they have the Gashapon experience here in the United States. They're licensing Bandai's stuff, and right off the bat, you're paying $7 just to get something like this. So that's almost probably a little over double. But then if you try and find these on eBay, $15 depending. There are a couple more. I don't have them on hand. There was a cool. Actually, I can show you. This is Giant Wasp. And so check this out. All this like stuff is separately articulated and sculpted. Body segments, head, ball joints, these legs. These are on ball joints, and they also have this one doesn't have a swivel, sorry. And then they've got hinge joints here. Again, the diversity of life line is intended to actually sort of be educational. They're trying to I guess teach people about biology, about the biodiversity and stuff. So this thing's cool. So hell yeah, makes sense to me. There's a world where Atreyu can go up against this guy. All right. I know this isn't for everybody, but for me, hell yes. I love a good toy. A $3 toy? A $10 toy? This was this is about a $2 toy, breaks down. This is one of these. So this is from the current series that you're seeing on, no, not that one. Let's see. They got turtles. I saw the turtles there. I wasn't as interested in the turtles, but they're really cool looking. Those aren't this one. These lizards are cool too. I just got too many lizards last time. Let's see. So where's this series? I know I just saw it. Come on. There you go. So this one, series 10 of these bugs. You can kind of see I got that one. You can kind of see the ones that are in this. I think they tell you, right? Confirm? No, but this is a 500 yen machine. This is this guy that I got here. It's either this one or this one. I can't quite tell. And then I also got this one this year. Boom. You can kind of see the size difference. These are both 500 yen for some reason. I don't really understand it. And I don't care because it's a good deal. Obviously, one's bigger than the other. Think of this like imp scale. Articulated. I'm not going to necessarily run you through everything, but you get the idea. So that's that stuff. And then from a different series. Oh, no, wait. From that same series, I want to show you this. Check this out. See that thing right there? What that is where'd you go? This is the most creepy, gross one. This is a pupa, a little larval stage of presumably this kind of beetle. I will increase and begin in a second. Oh man, I was happy to get this. And I got lucky because I didn't get too many doubles. So I was like, cool, I'm good. But check this out. I figured this was just going to be a slug. Nah, they're like articulated too. I guess, when they're hatching out of that egg, this is one body segment here. There's another body segment here on ball joints. That's just cool and weird. And I'm into it. So, imagine there's a world where, I don't know, Boba Fett, feudal Japan Boba Fett has to go rescue the gigantic bug thing. And that sounds kind of silly, but if you know Star Wars, that's like Baby Jabba the Hutt, right? Or Rod of the Hutt, sorry, I should say. Cool stuff. So the other thing that I was looking at were Gashapon. So yeah, man, like Zio's into robots the way I am into bugs, apparently. Rick Jones says bugs are cool. I agree. They're really cool figures, man. You had a mantis glow in the dark. So like mantis, one of these types of bugs, or like mantis, sexy eyes mantis, because that's an expensive thing. But hey, why not? Yeah, man, they're really cool. It's pretty wild, man. I love it. Bugs gross from a guy named Speaking Moistly. No, yeah, I hear you. And so, okay, got it. So he's getting them from AliExpress. So there's the option. You can get those bugs pretty cheap. He says he gets them fairly cheap. E. McNeil says, these remind me of Jisai Okimono, 18th to 19th century metalwork models of bugs, crustaceans, etc. That's awesome. I got to check that out. Yeah, Rick Jones has got a couple of them. Yeah, Rick Jones, if you've ever been down to, I forget the name of that market, but there's a market down in Santa Clara or San Jose, I think, where they actually have a Bandai shop and they actually sell Tamashii Nation stuff. Check it out. Just expensive. Okay, this one. I'm interested in the logistics of how you got it all in your luggage. Did you travel with an empty bag? We did. So I have a little carry-on. I put it in my bigger one, and we checked that in. And my carry-on I brought 4 sets of clothes. We all kind of did that, and we stay in a hotel called the Mimaru, which is like an apartment hotel because we have the 2 kids, and so there's like a little kitchenette and 2 little rooms. But the one we stayed in this year intentionally, because we stayed in one in Osaka last year, Kyoto last year, they have laundry. Even if you don't stay in that room, they have a laundry in the facility and you just drop in a couple coins and you do your laundry. That's how we did it. I know that's not for everyone, but it means that you can bring a lot of cool stuff back. And so I've essentially had one big suitcase filled with toys, and more than half. No. I think my entire little carry-on too. And I kind of had half my clothes or whatever. I even brought some toys home for a buddy Dre. So I was able to do it. And I want to say, let me go up real quick. Someone was asking about, I think it was Blake. Let me see. Blake, you were asking about if I'd heard about a particular, sorry, I got to say this. I skipped a bunch of stuff. That really is sick. Nice. Super imaginative Chogokin. Game Quest knows Kuga. Yeah, Hakkaida. Yeah, you know what's up. See, you guys know this stuff. Again, great deals on that stuff. 10% is not bad. Yep. Hey, what's up, Alberto? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in there. I think it was Blake who was saying, do I know Zip Air? That's actually how we flew this time. Last time we flew Japan Airlines, and then this time we flew Zip Air, which is a cheaper option. If you do Zip Air, that means you are paying for your luggage to come back. Just factor that into your price. So I think we ended up paying $65 for the extra check-in at the end. Like, you're paying for that stuff. So you can factor that into the prices too. So full disclosure. Anyway, I just want to give you a sense of all that. I hope that was pretty helpful. So don't tell everyone about Zip Air. That's the thing, man. We saw those flights and they were like a fraction of what we paid last year. Not as good. Japan Airlines was definitely a lot more comfortable, like newer planes and the, more meals and all that kind of stuff. But we're good. And this 100%. 60% shipping on all that stuff, though. felt not unlike almost Big Bad Toy Store, because I brought myself a bunch of stuff and Dre some stuff. Sorry. Zip Air is owned by Japan Airlines, same 7. Yes, but the older ones and clearly less maintained internally. Like I should say, in the cabin. Like there's just some stuff that seems to be less cute, if you will. No screens, for example, right? So, all right. Okay. All that said, that's what it was. Grego was mentioning some stuff about like different shops. Don't go to Akihabara, etc. I totally understand what he's saying, and I tend to agree with him on certain things. I love Akihabara though. He's saying it's a tourist trap. It's true, like there are other options, but let me start going into. I realize I skipped something, so if I may, let me just stop the whole toy thing for a second because I love the toys, but let me share just a little bit about the other stuff, because if you're thinking about going to Japan, please don't just go for the toys. Go for it's a beautiful place. The people are awesome. I discovered that in 2004, 2003, my first time when I got lost, separated from the band because I kind of want to just hang out somewhere, and I started exploring and walked around and away from the venue after sound check. I got lost. This was before the internet that we have now, so I didn't have the same access to just looking stuff up on the maps or whatever. I was sitting there looking at a map trying to figure it out, and someone noticed, came up to me, you need help? Like the international sign for do you need help or whatever. They didn't speak English. I speak very little Japanese now, like not really, like phrases, but I spoke nothing then. And I just showed them my lanyard from the club. I said, I'm looking for this. And they go, oh, yeah. And I kid you not, the dude walked me a good 17 minutes. I don't know what he was doing with his day, but he took 17 minutes out of his day to walk me to the venue. At first, he tried to explain it to me. I was like, oh, sorry, but thank you. But he's like, no, come. And he walked me to the club. I was like, dude, is that going to happen here? I don't know. Maybe. A bunch of stuff. Okay. That said, let me just share with you a little bit about just Japan in general and some of the other cool things that to see. I'm going to mute the audio. The audio is just there. So we took 2 short day trips this time. Last time we were there for 3 weeks. This time we were there for 13 days. But just beautiful stuff. I think you mentioned Kamakura earlier, Grego, but we were able to visit. This is on the way to Kamakura, waiting for the bus, and I just strolled around a little bit, and the kids and Joanna were in line. I was like, oh, let me just see what's going on over here. It's like this gorgeous river, and I'm just like, wow, what a place. And so, it's a little corny, but I just want to remind people, because I know we're toy folk here, but like there's more to one life than toys, but there's more to Japan than toys. I don't want to misrepresent and just say, just go be an otaku and look at the toys and nerdy stuff. This was on a boat. We also went to, this was a different time. This is us. This is Hakone. This was us on Lake Ashi on a like big old pirate ship kind of thing. Just gorgeous stuff and tons of just history. These are like, we talk a lot. This country, we live in the United States, was created in 1776. This is a place that has existed for much longer than that, right? So you're learning history about like the 100s BCE there, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So this was like a little trip there. Just want to give you a sense of that, because I shouldn't just be talking about toys. On that same lake, once you get to the destination on that lake, you can kind of just, check it out. This is me just sort of shooting off of, it's basically a park, right? But this is the Lake Ashi That's the one that we are sort of on earlier, and you can't quite see it here, but can you see my mouse? No, you can't see. Can you see this mouse? I don't know if you can. If you can see this mouse, hopefully, I think you can. This is where that sort of ship that I was on earlier left from. But yeah, man, just beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
All right, Hannah, real Hannah.
Oh, and fun little story. Right around here, I walked down and I tried to step down just to touch the water and forgot that, like, you know, mold, what do you call it? Algae can be real slippery, and I almost fell in the lake. So stupid American. But yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, I just wanted to share some of that stuff. And here's another one. This is from just fun, like, transportation stuff too, right? They've for my kids especially, this was particularly fun. This is us, like, you know, riding like these gondolas up the mountain in Hakone. I don't really have time to look at like the shrines and stuff either. I just want to show you some different things. Oops, sorry. What was I trying to show you? So there's that. Oh, I know what I was trying to show you. And I want to give you just a sense of like the beautiful things that are there and the other things that you can see other than the cool toys. I mean, I know we love the toys, but I feel like I would be doing a disservice to Japan if I only talked about toys. I think it's uploading. Maybe it's not. There it is. There it is. Okay, so this is the actual view from that gondola. And it should be playing, but super fun. It takes you all the way up the mountain. Not sure why it's not playing, but if it doesn't play, then yeah, then I will just remove it. And sorry, I lost myself there for a second. See, this is what happens when it's like, hey man, just talk about toys. Okay, so I will actually quit that while I'm ahead. Can I remove this? Yeah. Let's remove. Oh, I see what happened. It's too much in the studio. Okay, how do I get rid of it? All right. Okay. All that to say, there's other cool stuff in Japan other than the toys, but I know what we want to talk about. We want to talk about, okay, let's talk about some of the places you went to shop. Oh, did I actually? Yeah, I went through other bugs. Oh yeah, I guess I have two more. Actually, why don't I do this real quick? Two more from this year. This one, just to show you how cool these are. Beautiful. Different colors and stuff. Come on, focus, 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 focus. Maybe not. This is cool. Give a sense of size. Now check this out. This was a 1,500 yen one, a $10 one. So you can compare size. And this one's super articulated with, like, they've even got swivel hinges here on these legs. But anyways, you're probably sick of bugs. I just want to show you that real quick. Okay, so where is Brick shopping? What are his recommendations? So let's see. Did this computer die? First and foremost, let me boot this guy. Can I remove you to the stage? Okay. Let's see. Mandarake. So you probably have heard people talk about Mandarakes. Mandarake is a place that does a like massive mail order operation, but they have shops all over. And so here are the different locations of Mandarake, Mandarake, rulers of time. And so they had a bunch of different locations, as you can see, throughout Japan. And since going there in 2003, this is one of the stores that our tour manager introduced me to. I got to go to the one he took us to the one in Kyoto. And I want to say, I'm kind of unsure about Nagoya, but we did play in Nagoya. I don't remember if he took us to that one. And then he also took us to Complex in Akihabara back in the day, and then the Shibuya one. So here's what I'll say. If you're checking out Mandarake, be prepared. Mandarake is basically where you go for old stuff or, like previously owned or just older things that aren't necessarily the newest stuff on the market. It's a great place to go for even like U.S. stuff for some reason. If you're traveling to Japan to buy U.S. stuff, I don't know, but they have the Black Series stuff, etc. But crap ton of really cool vinyl figures. What am I trying to say with the vinyl figures? Oh, I'm blanking. Someone in the chat, help me out. What do we call in Japan the vinyl figures? And what else? They've got everything. Like these SICs, they're there. So if you just, it's like basically a toy museum. You could see old SH figure arts. You can see Micronauts, Microman. You can see Transformers, and go further back to like the Takara stuff. You can see Microman stuff. You can see Diaclone stuff. All that stuff. Thank you, KJ, and everybody else, and Zio, Sofubi, or Chifubi. But yeah, Sofubi. You all got it. Thank you. Yes, amazing Sofubi, like all in these mandarakes. And if you can kind of see, if I go back real quick, because I think they had, like you can kind of see here, like they're just packed. Like there's toys everywhere. This is the one in Shibuya, which is actually, I learned this time, I'm probably never going to go back to the Shibuya one, because they've since shifted their stuff just from last year. Last year, there was a ton of action figures. They seem to have moved those to other locations. And the Shibuya store is now basically idol stuff, K-pop, J-pop, manga, a lot of manga, a lot of magazines stuff and books. And that was like kind of their main thing now. Back in the day, this is one of the first shops that I went to in 03, 04. They had a ton of figures, and so they still have some of it there, but most of it's gone. So I'm like, I'm never going to go back there. But you can kind of see, just like, it's just packed cases, and you just kind of look through. It's like a museum. You could just go and window shop and spend an entire day. Trust me, I know. Just looking at this stuff, seeing like entire JoJo collections of like the old figures, old and current figures, just cool stuff, man. Muscle or Kinnikuman, they've got it there. Mandarake, I love, especially for the kinds of stuff that I was hunting for, the SICs and anything else like that. I could even find some of those old bugs from like a couple years back from when they started, and they had some of that. So I will just say my recommendations would be to skip Shibuya if you're in Akihabara. I know the time scales is saying skip it, but no, there's some like good stuff there. The complex is dope. Head up to, I think it's the 4th floor. The entire floor is just action figures. And then there's one that's all Sofubi. And you could just spend the day looking at some stuff, some real classic stuff, and some stuff. I say classic because I'm old, 70s, 80s, right? Even 60s toys, tin toys. But I realize I'm old now. A lot of time has passed since then. There are a lot of great 80s toys, 90s toys, 2000s toys, 2010 toys, all at Complex Akihabara. Like if you're wondering, what about this one? Skip it. This is all manga and idol stuff. If you're an action figure person, of course, they list this one. This is just to sell stuff. The other one is Nayuta, which was new to me, and I checked that out. And this one was great. Some really great stuff, and I bought some SICs there. La 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 is all books, so skip it. So I'm just, watch this back. You can check it out. Shibuya, skip it. Again, like I said. And then last year I got to go to the Osaka one, and that one's dope. And it's not Tokyo, as you can probably tell from the map. And so it's it's the second biggest city, Osaka, but still, like, they seem to have a lot more stuff there. Anyway, that said, that's Mandarake. This shop in particular, the Nakano one in Nakano Broadway, awesome. But it's basically like, if you think about an entire building, like a kind of a shopping mall with like 3-4 floors, and they have like stalls, kind of like a Frankenstein of different vendors. Mandarake has like 12, I think, different little shops with different themes. One is like fully artsy art toys. One is Sofubi. One is all Ultraman. One is all Kamen Rider, Tokusatsu, other Tokusatsu other than Ultraman. One is all robots. One is all American U.S. stuff, domestic stuff. And so it would just take you a long time. I'll just tell you, plan to spend an entire day. I went there twice because my son got into One Piece trading card game, and they have a card section with great deals, like amazing deals on cards. So that's Mandarake. I swear by it. Even if you just want a window shop, they have a lot of great vintage American stuff too. Like, that's where I got to look at the old V dolls from the 70s, old Battlestar Galactica toys that I haven't seen in forever. It was all there. It's basically like a toy museum. So check out Mandarake. My second recommendation is Jungle Entertainment Hobby Shop. They have both older stuff and newer stuff. They have a couple of different locations. I've been to the one in Akihabara in the Parco, and the one in Osaka, which is in Osaka, which is their main store. Huge store. That one was awesome. That's where I got that Masked Rider X for the first time. Just go. Again, you don't need to spend money. Just take pictures, video, and just enjoy looking at the stuff. They have, so this is what I did, just to give you an example. They have an English site. So I type in SIC, and so they do mail order as well. And you can kind of see what they have in stock. So this is how I was like, oh man, that would have been great, but it's in Osaka. Okay. Plus it's 26,400. So that's more than I wanted to spend. Look at this one. This is a higher price one. $93.50 for that one that I picked up. The one that I was saying is sold for $140 here in Daly City. What did I say? Mine was 6,000. Oh, because it was an open box, and this was through a Mandarake. Same toy. But basically, I looked at this, and this one right here, it says, oh no, that's Agito for 3,300, and it'll tell you which one to go to. So I was just like, cool. I looked at these. Oh yeah, they took down some of the stuff that I bought. And I was just like, cool, I'm going there. I know you have this. Do you have it? Yep, I'll take it. Boom. With the internet, maps, man, there's all sorts of things you can do now. So like, this is one that I bought. Yeah, they did have multiples of these. This is in that Akihabara store. So anyways, check it out. I'll just say, you know what, just because of time, we should probably wrap up. But I'll just say those are my main two recommendations. The third one would be, if you want to look at new stuff, let me go ahead and actually make this recommendation. Bic Camera. So Bic Camera, which is funny. And I've told some people there, and they're just like, dude, why are you talking about Bic Camera? That's like Best Buy. Yeah, it's like Best Buy. And so let me just give you a sense. Like, this is the Bic Camera website. It literally is like a Best Buy, and every floor is a different thing: stationaries, computers, washing machines, etc. So of course I go to the toy section / video game floor, and whatever. This is probably not the best way to show it. I have photos, but I'm not prepared. Everything that is current, you will find there. So, but in addition, because it's Japan, at least the one in Akihabara, they have like a line. Like, they sell Tamashii Nations. There's an entire Tamashii Nation section, and they have on display in cases old figures that aren't available now, but you can kind of go there and just basically check it out. And just like, again, it's like a museum and window shop. I got video of just like a bunch of different stuff that has come out in the past that they don't sell, but it's all there. You can just go and look at the stuff. They have a Mafex section that shows like everything. What else? just everything. They've got, all the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Sorry. They've got all the model stuff, the Figma. It's all there. So if you're looking for that stuff, I would say hit that place up for a couple of reasons. Number one, tax-free. You spend over $5,500, that's 10% off. And it was, I think, an additional 3% off just for using a Visa or MasterCard, 13%. So let's go to the chat. Rick is saying, I'd be looking for vintage Microman, Henshin, Cyborg, and Godzilla figures. That means you want to go to Jungle and you want to go to Mandarake. And that's where you will see that stuff. Greco, don't worry about it, man. Like Greco's saying, man, I don't want to try to steal your viewers, but I have 3 HD video online now of big camera. Yeah, no, for sure. Go check out his stuff. I have the same thing. It's sitting on a hard drive and I haven't updated. So go see his stuff. For sure. What's up, Sath? Amateur Hour. Just talking about some Tokyo times. Anyway, those are my tips. Of course, Tamashii Nations in Akihabara. If you want to see Tamashii Nation, you got to go to the Tamashii Nation store. They have great exhibits as well as like the current figures and previews of upcoming figures. I'll put those photos up on Instagram over the next month or so. So just keep checking that out. And I think, you know what, folks, I'm a little jet lagged, and I know folks probably want to talk SDCC and all of that stuff. But here's what I'll do. On Tuesday, I'm going to do another episode. I'm just going to do it live. If you want to come back, say 3:45, let's say 3:30, so that I can be done, so that I can watch Toy Migos, Chat Migos Assembled. 3:30 Pacific time, and I'll put a notice of it. Come back here on the channel if you're really interested in seeing it live. I'll talk more about my takes on some of the SDCC stuff and some of the stuff coming out of Wonderfest Japan. Shout out to D13 who unveiled their Nippon Adventures. Whole new line. That's all. Like D13 is Chris Garich from the Four Horsemen, his own toy company. He's done biblical adventures, which is not really my thing, but with that, he was like, he wanted to take biblical figures and famous art of these biblical figures and turn them into action figures. He's now doing the same thing with Nippon Adventures. He's going to be looking at samurai. He's going to be looking at yokai. So demons, ghosts, spirits. And so I'm really excited to see what he does with that. So I will talk all about that stuff Tuesday. And so check that out. Grego is leaving. Hey, Grego, time scales. He's saying, peace out from San Francisco. I don't know if you realize, man, we're neighbors. I actually live in South City, but teach in San Francisco, so I'm there all the time. E. McNeil is saying, hey, man, thank you for sharing the joy of the trip and the tips. No problem, man. And yes, and I hope folks enjoyed this. I know it was a lot of me talky. I hope that wasn't too boring, but yeah, I wanted to share a little bit. Again, I'm a little bit jet lagged too, or just like still adjusting to the time, so I'm a little bit tired. But come through Tuesday. I'll talk way more about D13 because they're at Wonderfest in Tokyo. I was trying to connect with Chris and I just got too busy because he was in Tokyo there for a little bit, but they started that show. I wish I could have stayed, man, till that show started. I would have loved to have attended a toy show in Tokyo. That would have been amazing. But I had to get home and unbox all these toys. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? That's it. Let's call that a show. But hey, I know it was a little bit weird today. I don't have a guest, but I'm returning back to that. So this Tuesday, it's just going to be me again. I don't know. I'll see if anybody wants to hop on. If anybody here in the chat is down and available for some reason at 3:30 Pacific or 6:30 Eastern, hit me up on Instagram at brick.something. And maybe you can join me on Tuesday. We could talk some SDCC highlights and some Wonderfest stuff. And then next Sunday, right here on the Brick Something channel, on the Brick Something News, Kevin from Toying Around is going to be coming through. And I can't believe he hasn't come here sooner. But I was happy to be on his show a couple weeks back, and he's coming through next Sunday. He'll be my guest right here, 3:45 Pacific time next Sunday. So with that, I know I'm getting rambly. Man, I'm getting a little tired. I hope you guys are good. I hope everything's been good here in the States while I've been gone. I was watching. It's a little bit messy right now. I'll just say that. And I hope everybody's safe. I hope people feel comfortable wherever you're at, because at the end of the day, that's what this stuff is about, man. It's about finding joy, playing with our toys, collecting our stuff, talking to other people, because sometimes stuff out there isn't so fun. And I'm hoping you all are finding some peace and joy in plastic and community. All right, folks. It's a messy show, but thank you all for watching this live. If you are watching this on replay when this is done, I would love to know if you are at all into Japanese toys. I'm just sort of curious what the touchstones are, and I'm curious if people who watch the channel, like, let me know in the comments. Again, that's really helpful. The engagement is helpful for YouTube to help push the channel, so please do that. Okay, folks, I am going to get going. But thank you all. I'll put some links down to Mandarake, Jungle, Tamashii Nations, and all that kind of stuff down at that URL when I'm done. But I am out, and I should be figuring out how to play the music. Here it is. Bye, folks. All of those. That's what I was trying to do. That's better. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Clicking end stream.